Conan, his vision bathed in a pulsating red mist, watched each enemy loom before him, receive his blow and crumple aside in a welter of red. Slash with sword, strike with axe, some died facing him, some plunging madly away. The king's mailed body moved with the supple swiftness of a rattlesnake, arching, leaning and striking from the saddle. He was Crom's holy warrior, lost in the moment, only vaguely aware of the cheers and the battle cries roaring up at him from one side of the wall. Hello and welcome to World of Conan, Tomes of Conan, and the book review of Conan the Great. So, straight up front, this was a really good book and I really recommend it. It is great, like the title says. Definitely a great read. I enjoyed it. I think you would too. And I recommend to read the Robert E. Howard story Black Colossus first, because this has a segment that is kind of a continuation, or it's good to know the history of what happened before in that tale. There's also a comic adaptation of it and continuation of it called At the Mountain of the Moon God. In Savage Sword of Conan part issue 3. So definitely if you want to get more of the story, you can read that also, but that's not completely necessary. Neither of these are, but I would say Black Colossus is definitely pretty necessary thing. Well, I mean, you don't have to, but it's a great read anyway, so I would suggest reading Black Colossus first before reading this. And yeah, I really like Leonard Carpenter's writing. He writes really good, action-packed, and a good tale with a beginning, middle, end. This will make a great movie. Great movie here. Conan was not one, sober men said, to let a sizable chunk of Aquilonian soil be wrested from him by the revival of an ill-remembered territorial claim, not even the face of treacherous collusion by two eastern neighbors. His army, though smaller than his foemen's, stood ready to fight. This was proven once and for all, as it chose that moment, the meeting of the two enemy kings, to raise high his broadsword and bellow forth the command, "Attack!" The trumpet's angry blatting echoed his words and heralded the first stroke of war, a flight of arrows from the front of the Aquilonian line. The projectiles rose steeply together, flashing in unison as they arched beneath the sun, and stooped hungrily toward the foremost ranks of Ophirian and Nemedian pikemen. Some of the shafts may have fallen short, or glanced harmlessly from enemy shields, but the fabled, lethal accuracy of the Basonian longbowmen was proven as ragged gaps opened miraculously in the foemen's ranks. Among the survivors could be seen a backward cringing and a faint, murmured confusion at this sudden rain of feathered death. So it starts with this is during when Conan is king, and it starts with a battle between three armies. The Ophirian Lord Malvin, who is ruling the country of Ophir, and then Nemedia, who is ruled by the King Balt, and these two have formed an alliance, and they're attacking Conan, who is the ruler of Aquilonia. Thereby they are cementing their alliance so that Ophir can get help to the eastern marches that are being harassed by Koth. that is ruled by Prince Armiro of Kohoraja, who has taken over, which is a smaller kingdom under the Koth, the country of Koth, and starts with this great battle. Really cool. King Conan wins. The opponents flee. King Balt and Lord Malvin in the battlefield, walking and killing those wounded. Conan meets Delvyn, court jester, a dwarf of King Balt, and he switches sides. He switches sides to King Conan, and Conan lets him live because he likes his forthrightness and his jokes and his playing, and him being really blunt and takes like mocks Conan, and Conan finds it refreshing, so he lets him live. It's really good. It's really good. King Conan decides to go to Yanthe, that's the capital of Ophir, while he has the armies on the run, and he wants to take the battle to the enemy, and there they get to the gate, and he gets into the castle without them knowing, attacks the castle and takes the room where they are, King Balt and Lord Malvin. He takes and their bodyguards. He decides to attack it single-handedly, and that's one of the best scenes in the whole book. It's really cool how it's described, and I really liked it. I thought it was great, fantastic. The Feast of Steel, chapter 5, really good. As the fighters met, steel clashed deafeningly overhead. The attackers rained slashes and thrusts at Conan, fanning out widely to gain access to their quarry, but his axe and broadsword danced through air with effortless swiftness, striking aside the lighter weapons and returning threat for threat, blow for blow. Amid the flurry of flashing steel, a sword broke, sending a bright splinter whirling high overhead. Then a second sword fell clattering to the stone floor. A bloody scream rang out, then came an angry shout, silenced suddenly by a crunching axe stroke. That left Conan facing a single adversary, stalking him swiftly and darting onto him as the man stumbled over the still thrashing legs of one of his fallen comrades. A final deadly sweep of Conan's axe sent the man spinning away in a shower of red droplets. There was an appalled silence in the room. Then the other nobles, moving to confront the stranger, slowed in their tracks. "This a fighting demon," someone was heard to whisper. "Here, berserker," a more gravelly voice proclaimed. "Come hither to me and let me soothe your gnawing madness. For know you, I have cured many such as you before." After Yanthe is conquered, he hears King Conan hears news of Princess Yasmela, and this is the part where it ties into Black Colossus of Robert E. Howard, so that's why it's good to read it. He hears she's being held captive at Thornhold prison fortress by Prince Armiro, and he decides single-handedly to go and rescue her on a kind of side mission here, without anyone knowing. So he leaves the army and all that stuff to his trusted generals and officers, and he goes to Thornhold to rescue her. Also during all this time there's an evil god called Cathanthos who wants to come back to the world, or he's in the world, but he wants to be worshipped again and take over, in that sense, the world that he's worshipped all around. And there's players involved, and he's influencing dreams and so forth. and he's planting all these kind of ideas and doubts and seeds of Conan to be an emperor of the whole world, take over everything, and all these kind of things, cool stuff. And after Thornhold, Conan resumes his conquering of Nemedia, and it all comes to a head between Prince Armiro and King Conan, and then the evil god Gathantos. When I finished this, I was thinking this would actually make a really good movie. It has a good beginning, actually quite a good middle with the Kohoraja side quest, or the Kohoraja element, when Conan goes to Thornhold, the infamous prison fortress of Kohoraja, to rescue Yasmela. And then it starts well with the whole book with the battle of the three armies, and then in the middle, like I said, the Thornhold escapade, and then brings back to Conan conquering different kingdoms, and then coming to an showdown between Prince Armiro and King Conan, and then the evil god Gathantos, who has been pulling the strings behind the scenes, and players being revealed, and all kind of stuff happening. So yeah, this would make actually a really good movie. An adaptation of this would have been cool to see that they would have made a King Conan movie. Probably in the future they will. Don't have much else to say, but this is a great book, and definitely recommend it. And it's not just for Conan fans, but definitely for those who want to delve deeper into Conan and read a good Conan story. I would definitely recommend this one. It's got some fantastic passages, and Delvyn the Dwarf is really has some fun lines and cool songs in here. So yeah, definitely check it out, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Hail Conan.